Hello there, it's James here, and welcome to the wonderful world of tag mapping. Now, this is something that not a lot of people do, but if you're going to use a CRM, a client relationship management system, for the first time, or even if you're using one now, it really helps if you map the tags that you're going to be using in your CRM in advance. And that is because tags can be used to find data within your CRM. They can be used to trigger certain events, and they can be used to track the effectiveness of your different campaigns. So for me, I highly recommend that you create some sort of table with 3 steps to the table, something that looks like this. Now, you can write it down on a piece of paper or use some sort of Word document. And that is because some CRMs allow you to have tags in categories and subcategories within other categories, but most of them don't. They just allow you to have one type of tag. And how you describe that tag is going to play a big role in how effective those tags are going to be in the future, but also you don't want it to get overwhelming or confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break down a bunch of different tag types so you can see how I put these things together. All right, an obvious type of tag would be a source tag. Oops, a source. What is it, a capital E? There we go, source. And that's because we get all sorts of leads from different places. So it might be source, and then I might have a subcategory, social media, and then I might have Facebook. Or it might be source, and I have partner, and my partner is Adam Franklin. And I could go on and on and on and on. But this here is a type of tag called the source. So once again, when I'm looking for my data, I can figure out how effective a campaign has been by having a look at the number of leads, for example, that I'm getting from the source. That's one type of lead. Another might be an event. So an event might be an opt-in. An event might be a meeting. Event might be a second meeting. So look at this, event, meeting, and this might be a decision call. Whereas this one here might be a strategy call. Indeed, I might even add one before this, which would be a discovery call, depending on how you do your calls. If I have an event and it's the opt-in, I might want to introduce something like the name of the opt-in. So an example might be 100 leads roadmap. And now when I'm looking at my data, I can see, well, the source was Adam Franklin and the event was the opt-in, but I could also track it down to go people that came from Adam Franklin that opted in for the gift that also booked a decision call. So that there is an example of source and event. Another type of useful tag is stage. And that is because people go through a sequence of stages. So for example, we might have stage and the person is a lead. I have leads all because I have leads that are different types of leads, but I might have stage. And the next one might be, they go from being a lead that's all to being a lead that is an MQL. That stands for a marketing qualified lead. So in our world, if they're the owner and they run a B2B business, that there would be a marketing qualified lead. Stage, lead, SQL. Can you guess what an SQL is? It's a sales qualified lead. And that might be someone who is a marketing qualified lead, but also has the budget to be able to spend money with me. That's what I mean with these sorts of things. So stage, once again, so someone starts off as a lead. After they go from a lead, they become a prospect. And a prospect in our world is usually someone who books a meeting. And you can see how these things might overlap because someone's booked a meeting, and when they book a meeting, they become a prospect. Can you see where I'm going with this? What happens after somebody comes into our world? They go through a series of events. We can track what stage someone is at. And I might add a couple more stages here because we might have prospect and we have 1, and if we've got prospect 1, we'd have stage prospect 1 lost. We can also use tags as reminders to tell us to do different things. I'm not sure if I'm going to go into that much depth in this particular video. I think that the one more thing that I'd like to put in here is product. And that is because when somebody buys a product from you, it's great to know, it's great to be able to search people by product and what they do. Now, you might say, I sell a service, I don't sell a product. But think about it this way. Product might be consultation. And that might be a 1-hour consultation. The product might be a consultation, but it is a 1 day. You can look at these things in different ways, where it might be a product and it is an event. And then that might be strategy day. An event might be, let's look at this, do this again. And I'll just say paid webinar. Depends on your business model and the type of product that you have. What else could we be doing here? One more product I might put is retainer, which we would call MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. And then we might have the name of the plan. Momentum Club. Now, I try and keep my layers down to 3, which means that sometimes you get into it and you go, well, you know what? We've got 3 layers of MRR here. So maybe I might create another one, which is MRR. And then that might be Momentum Club. And then we might have 2 different plans. So I've got plus, ordinary. I don't know what I'd call the other one, ordinary, plus basic. And then I might have all. So I can search for all of them when I want to. Now, you're looking at this like going, OMG, James, this seems overly complicated. But if you go through this particular process, it's going to force a level of clarity that you might not yet have in your business. So, for example, if you ever stopped to think about all the different potential sources of clients, so, of leads and clients. So I might source ads Facebook. I could go on and on and on, right? I might do another one where I realize that I'm running a campaign on LinkedIn and there are different levels on LinkedIn where it might be like, it could be a source. I'll do this a bit differently. Source organic post. I'll just put that organic post. I'm going to put this over here. It might be LinkedIn organic post, or I might do LinkedIn first degree outreach. Where you're reaching out to your first degree connections. It could be source LinkedIn second degree outreach. Only you know how your business runs, which is why this type of exercise is so valuable, because you begin to think about the source, you begin to think about events that are important in your business, you begin to think about the stages of the journey that someone might go through, the type of products that you want to sell. Now, one final option that I have down here, and it depends on the CRM that you're using, but I also have triggers. So sometimes I just have a tag that I use to trigger an event or send someone down a different path. So one of the triggers that I might have is welcome email done. And what that means is that if somebody comes into my world, the first time they come in, I might use a trigger to send someone down a path where they get the welcome email. And then after they've got the welcome email, they don't get it anymore. So I might use welcome email push. So they get the welcome email, and then I have my welcome email done if they've got that particular email, so I never have to give it to them ever again. Now, that there, it seems very theoretical. And as I said, it might seem a little bit overcooked and overcomplicated till you start to see these things in effect. So I'm going to jump into an account, and I'm using Go High Level as the tool. And what I can do is I can go into settings, and in settings, I can, let me click this again, settings, there we go. I can have tags down here. And what you'll notice using this particular tool, you can only have one layer, which is why I have source, social media, TikTok. It's why I have those 3 layers and those 3 lines. Using this particular tool, you can only have one layer of category, and they all need to be lowercase. They'll always default to lowercase no matter what you type anyway. So I've got that there, source, social media, TikTok, and you can see that. And they start to spread out and they start to become multi-layered. Now, if I'm going to go into an account that's live, and what I'll show you is what it looks like if you don't plan these things out in advance and if you plan them on the go. Because this particular account has got a little bit out of control. And there's all sorts of different tags at different levels. There's 177 results. All right, I'm glad I went in here because here's one more tag that I think is worthwhile mentioning. I'm glad I did go in here. Let's go back to this particular chart. This last one that I'm going to put in is it's called buckets. And I might put buckets, and then I might put income or turnover or size of business. And buckets is what we're using to be able to sort our data later. So buckets, and I'm going to put in this one, marketing model. And then I might put B2B. This one here, I could write marketing model, and I could write B2C. This one here, I've got income, and I might do less than 15K, which means less than $15,000 a month, or I might have more than 15K. And once again, you can see how this is useful when you want to find data. So you're capturing data as the data comes in, and then you go, you know what, I want to search up anyone in my database that's turning over more than, that's generating more than $15,000 a month in income. Or I want to target the people that are B2B. Or I want to target the people that are B2B and also making more than 15K. Or I could do one more. I'll do buckets, and then I will do role. And then I might do boss, which is the owner, or I might do buckets, role, employee. And that way, as people come into my database and as I collect more information and they are tagged appropriately, I can run my own little searches for people that are generating more than $15,000 a month, that are B2B and are the boss. I can also take a step back and target the ones, see where they came from. So what is obviously the best source of my hottest leads? And I can also take a step back again and go, well, how many of those people came from ads that are at the strategy call stage? You know what? I could add another one here. Event, meeting, ghosted, which means that they didn't show up. And I could make it ghosted or postponed or something like that. I could have different categories for each of those scenarios. And what I could do is I could target the people that came from ads that fit within our Goldilocks zone, that are an SQL, a sales qualified lead, and that didn't show up for the meeting. And I could run a campaign. Hey, I know that you saw our ad on Facebook. You clearly have an itch that needs to be scratched. You booked a meeting and then you didn't show up. What's the deal with that? And I can run campaigns that match someone in that very specific set of circumstances. It also means that, once a year I could reach out to all those same people again, where we may have had a strategy call, but however the deal was lost, reach out to those people again. And this is why these CRMs are so important, because if I've got 5 people on the hook, I've got a pretty good idea of who's who in the zoo. I can keep it all written down on a notepad. If I've got 15, it gets harder. If I've got 150, it's almost impossible. Anyway, This is an example with lots and lots and lots and lots of tags. Now, what are some of the scenarios where we might want to use something like this? So what I'm going to do is I might go into an area like automation, and I could create a brand new workflow. Let me see, start from scratch. That's what I want to do. And you can see at the very top of a workflow, it says start with trigger. One of the more obvious triggers that you would probably use is something like a landing page or some sort of like form, or indeed we use the survey tool all the time to collect leads. So a trigger might be a survey submitted. I will choose an event. Survey is 7 things to get right before the meeting. So someone fills out a little bit of a survey form, 7 things to get right before the meeting. That would be a logical trigger for me. But you know what? I could also use tag as a trigger. So I could tag, and the tag might be, let me see, the tag added. It might be new lead. I wonder if I've got one for that. Opt-in new lead. All right, so that there is clearly an event. I've got opt-in for a new lead. I don't need this one anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of it. I just wanted to use that as an example. And I'm using this tag, the new lead tag, as a way to trigger a set of events. And then I can run through a sequence of activities that I would want to happen. So one of those things is I might want someone to get an email. And the email might be what we would call the welcome email. And the welcome email is an email that we send to new subscribers about 24 hours after they come into our world that simply tells our story. It's one of those rare situations where we're able to talk about ourselves rather than the customer or the client. Very, very useful thing. So I wonder if I've got like a welcome in here somewhere, like a welcome template. Welcome, here we go. I've got one called awkward. And the subject might be, hey name, hey contact name. I have an awkward confession. And then I tell this story. Now, of course, if someone comes into my world, I don't want them to get that email immediately. I might want to make them wait 24 hours. I don't want them to make 24 hours. I want them to make it 24 minutes, and they'll get it the next day. So they wait 24 hours, then they get my welcome email. But wouldn't it be awkward if every time someone came into our world, they got this welcome email, right? That would be annoying now, wouldn't it, right? Now, in this particular scenario, I've created a situation where someone gets the tag new lead, so they're only going to get the new lead once. But however, if, for example, this was some sort of survey, they opted in to get the gift, and I've got the welcome email set up here, I might be able to use a tag to trigger an event. So after they get the welcome email, I might add a tag, and I would say welcome done. Have I got a welcome done tag? There we go, welcome done. So I've got a welcome done tag that they're going to get after they get the welcome message. I'm going to give them the tag welcome done. Now, to prevent them all getting that message again and again and again every time they opt in, I might put a layer in here, which is an if this then that. And what I would say is if this contact, let me add the tag does not include welcome done. So it's not welcome done. That's the situation. It's never been done. Not welcome done. And I could put in brackets new. And this one now I'm going to say welcome done, because that's been happened before. We create a situation where if they come into our world, they haven't got the welcome done message. They're going to get the welcome done message. If they've got it before, I'm not going to send that message to them again. So I'm just going to hit copy, that action, and put it over here, and they're going to go into a different scenario. That there is a situation where I would use the tag to trigger a new sequence. I would also use the tag to stop something happening or to make something happening in the context of the workflow. So that there is what I mean by triggers. But we can also use tags to find things, and we can also use tags to track things. The tracking might be a combination of tags that we're using here, or it just might be finding, where we might go into the contact area. I'll just hit save, even though I'm not going to use this, and I'll delete it. And let me go into contacts. And I might say, you know what? I want to find someone by tag. And the tag is, I don't know, B2B. Actually, there's going to be a lot of B2Bs. Bucket type B2B. That's great. All right, B2B. And search. And it's given me a smaller number, 6,393. I might go, you know what? I want B2B, and I want people that are also the boss. And I can go a little bit narrow again, boss role. So now they've got 2 tags. And the number, okay, it's actually not that different, but that doesn't surprise me in my particular world. That was one of the ways that I might be able to use tags to search. So let's just do a little bit of a recap. At the very beginning of this, I said, welcome to the wonderful world of tag mapping. The thing is, sales and marketing, particularly in the B2B space, is a deep, deep well. And at the beginning, we have like 1 client, then we have 2 clients, we have 3 clients, we have 5 clients, we have 10 clients, right? And we want to be able to track who's who in the zoo. Then we also have leads that come into our world. Then we have prospects that we're having conversations with. Then there's prospects that are cold. There's prospects that are warm. There are prospects that are hot. And every business is going to be different. And we can't keep this stuff in our brains forever, which means that if you have a CRM, a customer relationship management system, you can use the tags to be able to find people, trigger different events, and track people as well too. But that begins by mapping the tags that you can put into your system that's going to help you over time. All right, that there is my little introduction to tag mapping.